he did not provide a definition. Why don't you do this? Finish the Afghanistan withdrawal with the plane that Biden left behind and land that bitch, and we'll keep the conversation going. I'm done.
Yeah. Anyway, so black people do need help. They can't seem to make the grade, so to speak, for some reason. They haven't quite figured it out.
So is it that you don't understand or you do understand? This has nothing to do with whether these people are qualified. They are overly qualified. The fact about it is being able to actually sit at the table. Because there was a period of time that if in fact you had color in your veins, you would not be able to work in these places. So I don't understand how you come up with, black people aren't able to do for themselves kind of thing. But what's wrong? Why do you think like this? Who to be fair to him, besides red or blue, you're probably dead. Go ahead, man.
So, this is the reality of things, right? Black people fall short in a lot of categories. I'm not saying that there are not some intelligent black people, of course there are. But there's more than just intelligence that makes you fit for a position or leadership or a seat at the table. It's something to do with a human character. I think we lack that. As much as we know, we lack the basic human quality. For some reason, it's like the gentleman that was talking earlier. He kind of had like almost like animalistic. Like everything is like an attack on somebody, as opposed to having a regular conversation. And we're not even in person. This is insane behavior.
Now wait a minute.
I thought at first this was Manfinity, but is this Manfinity's evil cousin? What is this?
This is not Manfinity.
Right. So her name is Van Baby. I don't know. I know you got it.
It's another guy named Manfinity.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying nothing that's not already evident, right? So if we get offended about our own behavior when somebody tells us, then that's on you. You got to deal with that.
So
I could do a curse word, and you go, good. You're right. I would be. It is what it is.
okay, so I apologize for being quote animalistic. So you said black people lacked character. So I don't know what studies you've read on black people in job applications, etc., or you've actually read about this. So I'll ask you a couple of questions. Are you familiar with the resume studies?
Nope.
Okay. So when black people have a quote-unquote black name, they are far less likely to be called in for an interview. What does that have to do with their character? Because they haven't vetted, they haven't interviewed yet. So how do they account for character? 1 second, let me finish the question. Remember, I'm animalistic. I'll let you know when I'm done. I'm done.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. But remember, I'm the animalistic one, but you have the impulse control of a humping puppy.
You asked me.
I haven't finished. I haven't finished the question, so how can you answer? I'm speaking.
I mean, I don't know how many bars this to you.
So and that's why you wait, and then when I say I'm done, you'll know how many parts there are. Basic dialogue protocols. Okay, so I'll start over. So you said black people lack character. Character is something that would be vetted at the interview stage. How do they vet character based off of names on a resume or organization? So you could have a nondescript name. Your name could be Steve Smith Sr. Johnston Smith Sr. Right? But if it says he was the vice president of the Black Students Law Students Association, he's going to be less likely to be called in. So my first question is,
black person, regardless of your education level, i.e. yourself, you can still be disrespectful. And people don't want you around.
But that won't be racist though.
No, that's a judgment on character. Because you are an example of what I'm talking about. You're smart and you're educated, but you're disrespectful.
This is a free app, bro. This is a free app. It's not
That's your justification. That's just for your behavior. So when your name comes up, you know how he is. Despite
One second.
you know how he is.
Hold on. But you're extrapolating to an entire group. Man, hold on. You're extrapolating to a group though. Hold on. You're extrapolating to a group. That would be illegal. So if you never met the person and they happen to be a black woman, and you say, well, this is how black women are, we're not going to hire them, that's illegal and un-American, by the way. Because you're supposed to, I mean, you're a conservative, supposedly, but you don't believe in individualism? This is a terrible argument, brother. You are justifying the worst
Are you
forms
a
of
white
racism.
man speaking on
Yes, I am.
the word black? And black does not
Yes,
have to do
yes,
with any type of colored and or melanated person.
Yes,
Please
yes.
define the word black.
Yes, I am.
I'm so confused how
He's a
all
white
these
man,
melanated
yes.
people are allowing this man to speak when he's speaking and y'all not telling him to define his words.
Yes.
Tell him to define his words that he's using.
Yes. White man. Yeah. This is why I stopped speaking, First Lady. She needs me to define basic words.
They're not basic because one, it depends on the author and the context of the word that you're using. Basic words are not basic words because every single word that you use has a different meaning and a definition. That's why you have to learn how to learn the word that you're using and also define the word.
I'm gonna go vote.
Do that, please, so we can all be on the same page. And at this point, y'all listening to words that don't even have a meaning.
Let me vote, then I'm gonna go celebrate voting with Lucy Duval, Lacey Duval. I'm gonna go celebrate with Lacey Duval and Jada Fire. I'm done.
That was good.
Anyway, y'all, y'all need to leave Maggie Me So alone because Maggie Me So is valuable and y'all, no shade, are not. But anyway, I don't know if y'all heard about the bomb threats in New Jersey. It's pretty incredible. People want to continue saying for sure that these are not credible, so that, try from coming out and voting. And then I don't know if y'all saw Dick Cheney is dead. It's an interesting day.
Let me just address something real quick. First of all, Minister, young lady, I don't remember if your name is actually Brianna, but I heard you say minister when you first took the stage. I just want to let you know that assumptions and assuming that you know something and speaking on it is something that you need to work on. He is not a white man. Just because he articulates. Ma'am, you don't even know what I meant by white. So if you want me to define what I meant by white. See, I'm not going to put up with your ignorance. Because that's what happens. Because for whatever reason, Man Baby felt as though he had did something wrong to the young lady by saying, hey, listen, what's going on? And took it in a completely different way. I felt as though she was being disrespectful. Okay? He apologized and moved forward. But instead, she continued to hold on to it. And it's like the conversation continuously unfolded with a bunch of already preconceived notions. And it was rooted in, I'm mad and I'm angry, but I'm going to have this conversation. Because Man Baby, I'm not sure why you felt the need to say that he had animalistic kind of ways. When you were the one who was constantly being rude, coming off a mic, interrupting, interjecting, and okay, you're doing it right now. So because you're doing it right now, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. you sit here and you lie and you tell yourselves untruths. You're doing the very thing that you're trying to tell me right in the middle of me speaking that you haven't done while doing the same identical thing. You gotta be kidding me. Like, y'all are really calling yourselves adults? You must not have worked in corporate America. I don't know what you've done in life, but it has nothing to do with communication. Because the way that you communicate is not effective at all. By no means necessary. We can move forward. I don't have to stay on this. But I'm really mad that y'all pissed mega off. I am very upset about that. So, anyway, y'all get the vote and go and do what you need to do. Yes, Dick Cheney is dead at the age of 84. He liked fly fishing and some other crazy stuff.
Shooting his friends and then having them apologize to him.
Exactly. They went out hunting or something.
Yep.
Was it that he shot? I thought he shot him in the foot.
Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. I apologize to Dick Cheney for letting Dick Cheney shoot him.
That's crazy.
Also, it showed me is one day it will be Trump and I will be so happy. But you know, all evil eventually does die. You know? So.
Oh, no, you can't say that. I ain't getting in trouble with you.
But I'm in New York, y'all. I was telling Spirit last night. I'm excited about the election here today. I'm also excited about New Jersey, even though it just had the little fake bomb threats. And they did this in Georgia last year to try to get black people to not vote. So we already know who's behind this.
Oh, Matt, check your back channel 36. So, some people think that the government will be open by the end of this week. We had that discussion. There's talks that possibly they could be forming some type of deal. Hey, Asian, how are you? How you feeling? That's good. Do you have elections in today?
Nah, it ain't going for me.
Okay.
I'm not really going to talk myself that.
Well, you don't say that out. You don't say that part out loud.
Shit,
You just. I know, but you just say it out loud.
I'm rolling my feet around there.
Okay.
What's new in the news? Anything? Oh, so the Cheney back for it?
Yeah.
That's one thing I still. Yeah, I know. You know, believe it or not, I try not to discredit that, but nah, I just keep it at that.
Nice for 24 hours and not letting go.
I guess if the Donnie, old Donnie Rockford have a reunion.
So with this governor race in Virginia, this will be the first time that Virginia has elected a woman into office as governor. So.
Don't forget that Virginia governor.
Huh?
Don't forget about Virginia Lieutenant Governor. Lieutenant Governor. Seniors, the Jamaican, she retired from the Marine
Yeah,
Corps.
but lieutenant governor is different than governor.
I know what I'm saying is, I'm on top of it's on top of it. It's comical that race because she had no support, not even from Trump. And she, but now all of a sudden she wanted the black support. When she's never been black. The tracking is too early, yo.
No, we had this discussion earlier. CEO said because she dragged him, because she dragged him in 2022. That's why he didn't endorse her.
You want to hear something funny? Dick Cheney said that there's that in our nation's 246-year history, there's never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic. He tried to steal the election using lies and violence after the voters rejected him. He's a coward, a real man who wouldn't lie to his supporters. He's talking about Trump. I guess that's the only good thing Cheney has done.
That's wild.
I want to come out and say that Trump Good morning, Trent. Sorry, y'all. Hey, Thomas, how are you? Trent, how you feeling? You good?
You know, Trent's like, well, Trent's like, I'm awesome. Another day off in corporal. Dick Cheney was a globalist, and what has happened is the nationalists, and I really don't understand how it happened, but the nationalists of Steve Bannon and Donald Trump have won the Republican Party and pushed out the globalists of old, kind of what we were talking about yesterday. And I don't, that's what Cheney I think was mainly against, and of course some of the things he was doing internally with changing the Constitution. However, I'm, no fan of what happened in Iraq and all of the many civilians that lost their lives in a war that was a complete lie and fabrication to the American people, trying to tie it to 9/11. They killed hundreds and hundreds of thousands of civilians. So I'm very conflicted today. Sad man lost his lives. I actually really like and respect Liz Cheney, but I cannot forget the lie that was told to the American people that caused the lives of so many civilians and in the Middle East.
So, how are you feeling about the whole Venezuela? Because we might be just doing this shit again. I mean, fuck, at least they have the aid of Congress. Now we have no Congress, and we're about to do the same thing in Venezuela.
Yeah, just as terrible.
Oh, it's just as terrible. I think it might be just a little bit worse, because the fact is that
I'll tell you, Thomas, why it's not worse. Because, well, let me preface this. We haven't seen what's going to happen in Venezuela yet, so I can't say. But I can say, and this is part of what started the conspiracy, what fueled. We already had a conspiracy part of the United States, but what fueled it, and why so many people don't believe that the stupid shit like there were explosives in the Twin Towers and there was nobody on the planes, just completely dumb shit, is because we lied about there being weapons of mass destruction and Saddam having something to do with Al Qaeda and 9/11, so that we can invade the country and take over the world. And that was the original sin of lies that was told. And it's part of the reason why Donald Trump has become president, because the people no longer believed what the government was saying, because it told a complete fabrication.
You do know the 9/11 conspiracies started way before we actually invaded Iraq and did the whole weapons of mass destruction thing, right?
It's been perpetuated and repeated because of that. Had we told the truth and gone into Afghanistan and found the people who actually did this, and not tried to tie it to Iraq and occupy a country for 20 years, and take all of its resources. Had we not done that, I don't think that the conspiracy would be what it is. But it because we, with Dick Cheney and Wolfowitz and Don Rumsfeld and others, chose to tell this lie. We've stained the United States. It also gave Putin prerequisite to invade Ukraine. I hope Katrina's not on stage, because then she'll go off. But there are a lot of things that came out of that action it was the original sin to me, and it was one of the most terrible things that the United States has ever been part of.
So, we went into Iraq off of faulty intel, right? That wasn't just somebody flat out lied. I think that's like something that people have made up in their mind. That's faulty intel. It has satellite imagery of ants moving. The inspectors weren't allowed to, they were being pushed back on inspections. There was a bunch of shit that was going on at that time. So I think people are just putting shit together and making these stories up, but it was a lot of faulty intel. Now, don't get me wrong, they were all warmongers, because there was freaking the UN even said let's try to do some type of diplomacy where we can freaking try to get in. The inspectors were like, we're gonna talk to them, and we just couldn't wait. We just wouldn't wait. But it wasn't just a flat out lie.
Even if it was still something that was passed through in Congress and there was agreement and stuff like that. First off, let me make sure. I'm sorry, Patty. It's just I wanted to say good morning, First Lady. Thanks for moving me up. But the other part is, now with Venezuela, Congress is closed, and we're going to most likely be already murdered by 55 people already, and it looks like we're going to be doing operations on land without the aid of Congress. I mean, fuck me. At least you guys had intel. We just have the whim of a crap pot, and we're just supposed to be okay with it. Say what you say for Dick Cheney. They shoot his friend in the face on private honey.